Thank you. This time I'll recognize myself for 5 minutes. Appreciate you being here, your testimony. I'm still confused after these years over communication problems within our Homeland Security. I wasn't here when Homeland Security Department was created, but since I've been here at times, it seems like it's created more bureaucracy to get through in trying to get messages to and from the different departments that are affected. I was curious, I'd seen an article today in Breitbart that about U.S. Customs and Border Protection and special agents with U.S. Immigration Customs Enforcement, Homeland Security Investigations got a tip about a large shipment of marijuana. It's resulted in finding a tunnel in a home in Arizona, and it had a hydraulic lift coming up from the tunnel. They're saying 4,700 pounds of marijuana were found. And I am curious, the article indicates that that a significant number of the finds of tunnels don't come from detecting the tunnels. Mr. Steinbeck, are you familiar with efforts to try to locate tunnels that might be going across our border? I know it's normally affects more the DEA, but ever since I read the Tom Clancy novel, where, the drug tunnels ended up being hired out by cartels, actually to Middle Eastern terrorists. I've wondered if that isn't a possibility, if some of our enemies are as smart as Tom Clancy was. Are you consulted? Does Counterterrorism Division look at those issues at all?
We do, sir, and I think you break it down between known threats and vulnerabilities. So the southwest border would certainly be a vulnerability. So part of our job is working with the rest of the intelligence community, again, with the locals in that area to discuss and research what potential vulnerabilities are out there that not only would be used by a drug cartel, but it could also be exploited by a foreign terrorist organization. So we have a process. We work with our partners through the JTTFs, through the fusion centers, to make sure that stuff like that, information like that, is spread horizontally across the infrastructure so that my folks in counterterrorism with a counterterrorism slant can look at it. The sheriff's folks can take a look at it from local law enforcement. It's really the key is having an infrastructure set up so that the fusion centers, the JTTFs, have a robust information sharing process so that when stuff pops up across the spectrum of the 17,000 state, local, and tribal agencies, that it's quickly pushed where it needs to go.
Well, you bring up the fusion centers. I'd heard from some of our law enforcement that, gee, it's now become a one-way street. The feds want us to give them our information, but we can't get information back from them. Sheriff, how has your communication been in the last few months with the fusion center? Have you had any success in getting information from the federal authorities?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, you raise a good point as well. Some of that relies on individual states and your criminal intelligence sharing laws. Like in my state, I am not allowed to share that information between federal and local law enforcement. In many other states, it's some patchwork of local state laws. However, we have a good relationship with our fusion center. Just on Sunday afternoon, we received a joint information bulletin from the FBI, from the Department of Homeland Security, talking about the Mall of America and this video that I referenced earlier. That's information we need. It was timely, it was accurate, it was to the point, and it helped us prepare, or better prepare.
All right. Well, and actually you bring up, Mr. Steinbeck, the issue of vulnerabilities. I'd seen an article February 14th, again, Breitbart reported that the Border Patrol agents catch Middle Eastern man sneaking into Texas, and that's the most I'd seen reported, but my sources indicate that actually he was from Iraq, he spoke fluent Russian, and that supposedly all he would say about his occupation is that he trained people. Does your counterterrorism division get word when people like that from countries where there is radical Islamic play? Do you get word when those type of situations arise? Do you get a chance to question someone like that?
Yes, sir. So I would say, going back to the Fusion Center piece, just to kind of show that tight, we have over 100 agents and analysts sitting in Fusion Centers. We've got 57 of our Fusion Centers have access to FBI databases sitting there. That information starts generically at the local level and is pushed to us. So in the case of the gentleman you're talking about, that would be classified as a special interest alien. Those individuals coming from countries of concern that need greater scrutiny to look towards, what are their true motivations and intentions for trying to sneak across the border.
Okay. Did you know about this particular Iraqi individual that trains people that speaks Russian?
I myself did not personally know.
Okay.